Laura, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good.
Good to hear.
Bright
Good
and
to
sunny
hear.
where I'm at.
Yeah, well, we're still getting our day a little bit started here out west, but I think it's going to be a great one. I hope everybody is having a fantastic day today. Really happy to be able to share this fantastic webinar with all you folks. My name is Matt Van Gastel, and I am a customer success manager from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. This week's webinar, How To, the Smart Admin Portal, features Laura Van Helmont, Team Lead Training Specialist from Boca Raton, Florida. We also have Mug Jane and Raymond Nebrez as product experts for our Q&A opportunity at the end of the webinar. We do encourage your participation today, folks. During the presentation, I will be placing some links in the chat box. If you have any questions that you would like to ask us as we go along, please ask those in the chat box, and I will either integrate them into the flow or hold them to be answered at the end of our Q&A period. We will post a brief feedback survey in the chat. If you can copy that link in a new window and access it, and then give us just a few minutes of your time, we would certainly appreciate it. And you will receive an email a little bit down the road that will include a recording of this webinar, along with some other great resources to help you with your smart journey. We are certainly happy to have you here with us today. At this point, I am going to turn things over to Laura so we can dive into today's webinar, How to Admin Portal Provisioning. Laura, over to you.
Take it away. All right, awesome. I hope everybody can hear me, see my screen. Good morning. I am in sunny South Florida, and it's actually sunny down here for once and still beautiful and warm, but a little jealous of you guys all that are up in the Northeast and the Midwest. I originally from the Midwest area, so I know you're experiencing fall and leaves changing colors, and it's a beautiful time of year. But we're going to go ahead and kick it off today learning about the Smart Admin Portal. This is actually an interactive presentation. It's not just a sit and get webinar. So if you are able to, and you're in a place where you are at a computer and you can open up an additional tab in your browser, I would encourage you to join us on the interactive elements of the journey here by going to hellosmart.com. You're going to join in as a guest, and you're going to enter in my class ID 914351. When you go ahead and you do that, you're actually going to still be able to hear me in the webinar, so don't close out of the webinar, but you'll be able to see and interact with the presentation as we go through today. So again, it's hellosmart.com. Join as a guest, 914351. And we usually have a few seconds delay as to when I say something and you guys are receiving it on your end because of the beauty of the internet. And I'm starting to see some people coming into the interactive presentation here. So I've got 8, 10 of you guys in, 11, 12. Perfect. And so you can see my whole long list here of everybody who's joining in as a guest into our presentation today. What that's going to allow you to do is to be interactive in our presentation and be able to answer some questions for us, do some activities as we learn about the admin portal, and truly make it an awesome experience. It's also something that your teachers that you work with in your schools or districts would have access to, and they'd be able to use this software after you provision your users in a smart admin portal. All right, we've got about 25 folks in now, so I am going to go ahead and turn to the next page for our first activity together. And this is an introductory poll. And when I go and I hit start for the class, and Matt, you might want to put my code into the chat too, just so that they have it, hellosmart.com, 914351. More folks join in a little bit. This introduction is going to be able to help me guide as we go through this webinar to know who you are, what you want to get out of our time together today, and focus a little bit more on those pieces rather than just me coming up here and just talking in general about the product. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit start. And on that tab, you are going to see some questions come up on the screen. You're going to go ahead and answer those questions, and there will be a little blue arrow to the right to move to the next question. Mine's on the bottom left, yours is on the top right. And I can see the amount of people that are going ahead and answering these questions for me. And so I see live results about how many students have answered it. I'm going to call you guys students because I work in schools a lot. And I can show live results. So yay! Almost 19 of you guys are working IT or IS in your schools or districts. So I'm super excited to see that. We've got a couple others, which is why I threw other in there because I'm sure there was a couple others. And a few principals and procurement and purchasers. So that's perfect. Going on to the next question. Great. We've got some people who've never used Smart Admin before, but it looks like a lot of you guys are beginners. You might have some familiarity with it, but you're learning how to actually use it. And then a few that are more expert or intermediate. So that's pretty cool. A good mix, but gives me a good idea where to start. So yay, a lot of you guys got reasons why Smart Admin Portal is important and the benefits that it'll provide to your teachers and students at your campuses. So good to see that you guys understand a lot of the easy accesses. And I can see on here, some of you guys maybe also have some ideas or a few of them, but realizing that all of these things are truly important. And then my last question of the day is, did anybody, tell you about you needed to provision users once you got your hardware installed possibly? And so this is just for us to take back and better our processes, just in case that maybe we don't remember that process, or maybe it was or wasn't, or maybe you're on this next step in your journey and you're ready to continue. So thank you so much for that feedback. It will help me guide through the rest of the webinar today. So I'm going to go ahead and end that activity, and we're going to kick it into the beginning piece. So these are the objectives that we have that we're going to achieve today. I'm going to share the benefits with you. It looks like a lot of you already knew the benefits of using the Smart Admin Portal. Then we're going to go in and we're going to talk about how to access and navigate the Smart Admin Portal. And then the 4 easy steps to actually provisioning your users. So claiming your software, managing your users, managing your software, provisioning your users, and then organizing your admin roles. And when I say admin roles, in this case, I'm talking about your IT admin roles, not your administrators, like your principals and assistant principals. And then at the end of our time today together, we are going to wrap up with a Q&A. So we have Ray here today as a product support analyst who can help ask and answer any of those really like finite questions, those very technical questions that we may not be able to support you with during the webinar today and the overview. All right, kicking off with the benefits. Like I saw from the introduction, a lot of you understand the benefits already of provisioning your users or provisioning your teachers. And I use the word teacher loosely because a teacher could be somebody who's instructing your students. So as you're provisioning your users, don't forget about permanent substitutes, ESE support specialists, so special needs specialists, special needs teachers, early childhood teachers potentially, or anyone else who might be interacting with the students on a daily basis, because there's benefits of the software access that they'll be receiving by provisioning them. The second one is simple subscription management. So when you're actually going in and provisioning your users, it makes it easier for you to be able to have access to all the different components that Smart has to offer, rather than just using a product key. And you'll see that in just a minute in the next slide. The next one is flexible software access. So when you're able to actually, and I'm going to draw this on the board since I'm synced up here, on your flexible software access, your teachers can actually log in. And when they log in, they are able to access it from home. So whether they're using Lumio by Smart, they can access it from school or from home, or they can also install Smart Notebook on a personal device. And by just logging in, they're able to have access to that license that you've purchased for your school. The next one is lesson delivery features. And so that is for you to be able to have teachers to access more things. So when they just have access to Smart Notebook on their computer, they have the full license. But when they are provisioned, so you provision them in here, I'm going to draw a line all the way over here. You provision them in the lesson delivery feature. Now they have access to the gamification. They have access to that activity we just did, which is called response. And then they'll also have access to shout it out, and we'll get to do one of those today as well. So just by provisioning them, they now have access to additional features within the software that they wouldn't if they weren't already provisioned. And then the last one that I have is actually something that you're seeing right now, is seamless syncing. So I've got my computer kind of up here in front of you guys, and then I've got my board, nothing tethered or connected between the two. All I was able to do was actually log into my panel, and it syncs over my actual files and lessons from what I've created on my laptop. It's pretty cool. And I'm going to show you that a little bit further just to kind of hit home about the benefits here. So I created this activity in Lumio by Smart. So that's what I'm using right now, is this product right here. And by provisioning your users, they will have access to this resource and lesson creation tool, okay? If you don't provision your users, they won't have a full access to this. They'll just have a trial account, which has some limitations, okay? So you wanna make sure you get everything out of your full license. Lumio is just part of the Smart Learning Suite that you were able to purchase, okay? So Smart Learning Suite includes Smart Notebook, make that a little bigger for you guys too, and Lumio, okay? When you're on your IFP or your board, I'm gonna make that bigger here, you then have access to be able to sign in. So I'm gonna circle that guy here. I'm gonna use a tool, new tool that we have on here. So you're gonna sign in. But let's see if that converts to text. There you go. You're gonna sign in. I can now come back over to my computer and I can be using it, and you'll see all the updates kind of coming over. You're gonna sign in here, and you're gonna sign in here. And then now, because you provision your users and they're all signed in on Smart Notebook, you have access to the games, the shout it out, and that response, that poll and quiz tool. Then I can take my Smart Notebook, I can upload it into the cloud, it goes into Lumio, and then Lumio is what syncs back and forth with your board. So you can see I can run the activity from the board. I have access to Lumio, I have access to Smart Notebook, and I can go between the two different devices very seamlessly. Definitely a big, big advantage. I see a question that came in for if I don't use the Smart Board, no big deal. If you don't have this piece, which I'll delete it, you still have access to your Smart Notebook and your Lumio. And then this goes up to here. Let me delete this guy here. And you have access to this. Lumio can be used anywhere, anytime, any device. So it's web enabled, it could be on a phone, it could be on a Chromebook, it could be projected on any sort of projector system or board system that you might have. Okay, so if you have other types of projectors or boards, it will also work as well. So this is still definitely the benefit that they have access to the full suite of software. If you don't provision users, they don't get access to this, and they don't get access to these three items either. Okay. Seeing another question come in. Can't write on documents pen. I'll have to probably look back into that one in a few minutes, okay? Matt, do you have anything to top up on or any other questions that came in that I can talk about, like the syncing process between the three?
Not so much on the syncing process. Somebody was asking if Lumio works with Brightlink projectors, and yeah, we can answer that. Lumio is, of course, software-based, and will work with any display device.
Yep. So any display that you have, or if you're even just using iPads or Chromebooks or laptops, it would also work and display amongst those devices as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Going on to the next page. All right, so how you get started with all this. I know this is the meat and potatoes of what you guys are really probably here for. I've given you the benefits, the why. Now you're bought in, you're ready to provision. What do I do next? Okay. The first thing is that you possibly received an email that looks something similar to this. If you were the purchaser, you were the one who received this email. If you were not the purchaser, because we saw a lot of ITIS individuals on here, it's possible that you did not receive this email. All you have to do is step one is just to either have that individual forward it along to you so that you can claim your software, or there's another step that I'm going to go over in a minute. Okay. So with this, though, what I'm going to show you is that you get an email. Like I said, it's sent to the purchaser. So whoever bought Smart at your school will be the one who's receiving this email. Then if you're the IT folk, all you need to do is make sure that you get this email. Let them know, hey, did you get an email from Smart? Can you forward it to me? After that, you are then the one who will claim the unique link for your software. So this unique link is what is going to actually launch you into your Smart Admin portal, and you're going to be able to provision your users. If you are the one who clicks on this link, you are going to become the admin of your Smart Admin portal. If somebody already clicked on it, don't worry, there's another way to get in though, and I will show you in just a few minutes. Okay. The next piece is you have your traditional product key here. So if you're using just Notebook right now and you're putting in the product keys for however you're logging them in, you still do have that traditional product key that will access for Smart Learning Suite. And then the last bit is if you click on this unique link and then you go ahead and watch some of the videos along with this webinar, that will help you to make sure you know how to get everybody in the admin portal. I did see some questions coming in based on this email. So I want to maybe stop and address if there are any, or if there's some questions that Matt thinks I'm going to answer in the next slide, we'll hold off on them. So I'm going to, Matt, I'm going to say anything I need to top up on here.
We're just we've got the one question about combining licenses. I don't know if we want to address that now, if we want to hold that until the end of the chat.
Yep, I will address that one when I go in live into the product.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Okay, so if you didn't get this, don't worry. There is more than one way to get into the Smart Admin portal. So that's what I'm kind of going to direct you guys to now. If you're still in my class right now, that link that you see on your screen is active. You can go ahead and click on that, and that's going to take you to the login page for the Smart Admin portal. So now you have 3 tabs open. Just going to clarify, you've got Zoom, you've got my Lumio lesson, and then you're going to have the Smart Admin portal. Feel free to navigate between the 3 of those different tabs as we're talking through the process to provision users. So like I said, you could have option 3, clicked on the unique link from your purchase confirmation email, and that will get you into your Smart Admin portal. But if you didn't have that, there's 2 other ways that you can do this as well. First one is on that page, you'll see sign up for free. You can create your account and you can be added as a new user. Once you go in as a new user, you are not going to see anything assigned to you. You're not going to have any panels or any software that's associated to your account at this point. Okay, so you're going to just wait for that. And then you can also, if you're an existing user, look at like some people were experts or at least intermediate users and probably already have their account. You can just go ahead and sign in like you would normally, and you'll be accessed into the Smart Admin portal. Okay. And I think this is where I go through and say, hey, we've covered sharing and accessing. I'm going to give you guys probably another minute or so to get in so we can start learning how to navigate and then go through the remainder of these 4 items here. If you've logged into the Smart Admin portal at this point and you do not see, you may see this page, you may see a blank page that has no schools underneath it. I'm going to teach you how to talk to the individual at your school, campus, or district that might be able to help you get into the organization. So you might not see anything here right now, but if you do, you're going to see your different licenses that you have for Smart Learning Suite and your seats that you've purchased. As of right now, I do not know a way to combine the seats that you've purchased into one line level, but we do have, like I said, the Q&A at the end of this, or we'll make sure to gather whoever's asked that question's information to see if we can help you with combining that after this webinar, okay? So it's possible that you're not gonna see, it is suggested Chrome to use, yes, for Admin Portal. All right, so if you see a blank page here, we're gonna start from there. You can also be able to add in your accounts if you have the number of displays that you've purchased and a serial number for one of those displays. And you can go ahead and then add those in and click continue. And then what's going to happen is that's going to bring in your software licenses over into the manage tab, and you'll see them here. So you'll see your organization and how many seats that you have purchased. If you do not see that or do not have access to be able to actually add in the panels and the serial number, what you're going to need to do is to make sure that you know who the organization owner is. And by under organization, what I mean is your administrators. Administrators, like I was referring to earlier today, are actually your IT admin folks, a tech instructor who has access to be able to add in the different components. So this individual will need you to add you into the organization so that you're able to manage the seats and licenses in your account. Okay, we go ahead and cancel that. So again, I went under organization, administration, and they'll need to make sure that they invite you. After they invite you, you're going to receive an email, and then you'll be able to access and get in to manage the licenses for your organization. Okay. So I know I did quickly go over claiming included software, display number of purchases, and a serial number, or that the individual who is your administrator needs to invite you and add you to be able to help manage in the Smart Admin portal. Okay. I'm going to stop there. If there's any questions that I needed to answer.
We do have a few in the chat there, Laura.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to look at them or if you'd like me to read them off to you.
You could, if you could read them, because I'm not going to scroll.
All right. First off, Kevin was asking about admin portal not loading correctly in Safari. You may just want to try refreshing that page, Kevin. I had something there myself when I first logged in today, just required a refresh. Chris is asking about serial numbers for the boards. They haven't gotten one yet. I think we can address that towards the end of the chat there, as well as combining organizations. We have several organizations of different spellings in the same school district. Is there a way to combine them on here? Do we know?
Yes. So there is, I think we might have to manually help combine them, so we might have to follow up after, but we do have all organizations, so you can start combining. If you have like, say, like 20 campuses as part of a district, then we can start adding them all into the same account for you. We might just have to work through getting them all into the same major organization bucket. Okay. Sometimes it just depends on how it was purchased at the time and the spelling that people put in. And I know I live in a district where sometimes they use the acronym and sometimes they spell it out and sometimes they say school district in front and sometimes school district is at the end. And then they don't all get connected into the same main organization. Okay.
All right.
On the
Matthew's
next one.
asking if the expired items in his list ever disappear from the Manage tab.
Right now, they do not, but that is a feature enhancement that we definitely are working on to try and clean up, especially if you've got a ton of like license codes over the years. It does take a lot of space. So we can bring that feedback back to the team.
All right. And last
Okay.
one here. Alyssa is looking for information on the benefits of claim included software. Is this a must?
um, the claim included software, honestly, if you don't have your software already pre-populated into the system, this is just an easy way for you to be able to put it in, and it will pull from the serial number and connect in so that you can manage your licenses. Honestly, the easiest way is to use that email, but sometimes in like larger districts or larger schools, that email may not be as easily accessible to figure out who received possibly that email. So that's an easy way for you to manage and get your software into the system. Okay.
All right. And we had one more just come in from Jeannie
Yep.
asking, can I add another administrator in my admin portal? I already have added users to my smart admin portal so they can use the software. They do not appear in the organization page of my portal. Do I need to add
Right.
them?
Okay. So organization is different than managing your users. So I'm going to go back to organization for a second. In your organization, the only folks that you need to actually add and assign in here are those folks who are going to be administering in Smart Admin Portal. So if you have, let's say, 20 schools in your district and you have a tech at each of those 20 schools, you might want to add all 20 of those individuals so they can manage the users for that site. Now, concurrently, let's say you've got those 20 schools and you're like, nope, I'm the one who's going to provision all the users because I've got the Google group and I'm going to do it myself. Then really you're the only one, and maybe one or two other folks that are like your right-hand people need to be added in here to help with the provisioning process. So organization is your like IT folks who are going to help with provisioning or need to see what is provisioned. That's it. Okay. When I go back to software and over here, and I'm going to go into my actual software license and I'm going to manage my 40 seats that are current. I'm going to manage my users here. So these are the individuals who are actually using the software that I need to then add them into this list. So these are my users. Organization is the ones who are help administrating on the Smart Admin Portal. Okay. When I go in to add users, I'm going to go ahead and click Add Users here. You actually have several options to be able to add your users in. So a couple of those that you can do, you've got a small school, maybe only 20 teachers. You can go ahead and type their information and email addresses directly into the program. Just know, or I'll actually tell you this tip in a second. You can also import a CSV file. So if you have your whole list of teachers already created with their email addresses, you can import the CSV file in and then you're done. Advantages to that, those two options, they're pretty simple. Disadvantages, they're pretty manual. So if you have teachers who maybe retire or you have new teachers who are hired on, then you have to go in and you have to update this information continuously because there's no syncing process that's happening. So you have to manually go in and add and delete users as they come in and out of your organization. The next three are syncing processes. So if you use OneRoster, Google, or Microsoft, you actually connect in your user groups, so your teacher user groups from those different platforms, and then they sync automatically. So if you make a change, let's say in your Google group, a teacher retires, a new teacher is hired in, it will automatically sync in the Smart Admin Portal, and you actually don't even have to come in here to add that again. So once you've added that sync in, it will do it automatically for you. Okay. So you've got your kind of manual methods, and then you have your syncing methodologies. Each of these options here has some direction sets that come along with it that are a little bit too long for me to explain on a webinar today, but I do have all the directions that you'll be able to access and click that Matt will be able to drop in the chat. And then I also have it in the Lumio presentation as well for you to click based on the methodology that you want. And then just as an FYI, the most popular one that we have is actually using the Google Sync. Okay. I saw one come in that says, I don't see the add users button. So what you need is you need the individual at your organization that you think might be the admin, or you might be in a tech teacher role to be able to actually upgrade your role. Otherwise, you're only going to have view access to be able to see. You won't be able to actually add. All right. Other questions in here that I did not answer?
No, I think we're on top of them, Laura.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Honestly, that's it for the admin portal. I'll do a quick recap because I know it was super fast because it's pretty easy. Remember, you've got your organizations. You should be seeing all the schools as part of your organization under here, unless you have everybody grouped as one large organization. And that's your schools as organizations. Claim included software. If you want to put in your displays and the serial numbers purchased, you can continue in, and then that will bump you in to be able to manage your software. If you don't see the ability to manage your users and click the add button, you need to make sure that you are promoted to the administrative level by the individual who most likely purchased the boards or the software to be able to add them in. And if that is a challenge, we'll make sure that you have information to be able to contact us after the webinar as well. And then you've got your manual import options, and then you also have your syncing options. And then the last one is organization is your administrators. Your administrators meaning your IT folks. And that when you come in and you add somebody in, you can choose different roles for what type of people they're going to be. So the administrator who's going to be able to see and do everything in the program, tech instructors who can manage just their school site and be able to add and remove users just at their school site, or if you just want somebody who has access to be able to view, so maybe the school principal, just to make sure that their lists are correct. Okay. And honestly, that's all Smart Admin Portal is. And then when you come back in, I'm going to go back over to the Lumio presentation now. So if you want to kind of jet back over to Lumio presentation with me, that would be good because we're going to do some other interactive components. And I'm going to leave it on the screen for a second. So you've got 914-351 at hellosmart.com if you want to join in. We're going to do a couple more interactive elements before we go into our Q&A. All right, so we covered navigating, claiming, managing, provisioning, and organizing your admin roles. Perfect. All right, a few more tips. Only choose one method for adding your users. So you cannot use a mixed methodology, meaning you cannot add users using a CSV and then connect a Google Sync. Because what will happen is your Google Sync will sync over top of those users you added manually and it will remove them. So only one way that you're going to add users is stick with that one methodology. However, let's say your school's pretty small this year. There's only 20 teachers. You want to just use a CSV file. But next year, oh my goodness, your school grows to 100 teachers. You can then choose to change your methodology and none of your teachers will lose access and they will not lose their content or their materials that they have. It's just changing the way that you're syncing the process. So they will not lose anything if you choose to change your methodology. Okay. Google is the most popular way to provision users, but you can definitely use whatever your district is using currently or whatever methodology works best for you. That's why we have options. You want to make sure that your user list or sync is updated regularly. So if you're using like Microsoft groups, make sure you're updating your Microsoft groups on a regular basis so that your current users have access. And if you're using lists, make sure you check back on those lists like on the CSV file a couple times a year just to make sure everyone has access. Once all of the provisioning is done, you don't need to let the teachers know. You definitely can, but you don't have to, that they now have access to Smart Notebook and Lumio and the syncing if you have a board and that whole process. What we'll do on our end is once they're provisioned, we will send them an onboarding communication that says, hey, you've now been provisioned and you now have access to this different software. So they will receive the one email to be able to kind of bring them up to speed as to what they have access to. All right, we're going to do a fun activity. So I want to see real quick if anybody wants to join in on our fun little activity here. It's called a monster quiz. And it's a fun opportunity to be able to review the information that we covered today. And then we're going to go in and do the Q&A. All right, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to play this game. So this is called Monster Quiz. I actually did not turn on the audio today. I forgot again. But this is one of the most popular activities that we have that your teachers would have access to and the students would have access to once provisioning users. So I'm going to divide you guys up into teams. I'll do 5 teams here. And this is a competitive game where you are going to try to answer the questions quickly and correctly to help your monster hatch out of its crate or its ice or its lava egg. So I'm going to go ahead again, quickly and correctly answer the questions. And it's based on things that we learned together today. I'm going to go ahead and hit start. Make sure you're on your Lumio page so you can play. My screen's going to look slightly different than yours. Go Cool Chillers, I see in the chat. Let's see who's going to get. Kevin, John, Jason, Matt, Tina. Yay! Oh, I see the monsters coming out of their boxes. Oh, the ice. Oh, the freezer burners are catching up. Oh, the freezer. Oh, the heat waivers are making a last minute. Oh my goodness. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? We've got an arm out on the heat waivers. We've got a tail out on the freezer burners. It's like calling a baseball game, guys. So exciting. And there is some really cool music that goes along with it. Oh, I see the freezer burner's eye. Oh, the case creatures are catching up. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so close, guys. The heat waivers are coming back. I think somebody on the Cool Chillers might have been the one on the fire drill. The heat waivers won. Yay! Congratulations, guys. So after this, they can end the quiz. They can, I booted some of you guys out. Review the activities, see who won, and then you can actually review the resources. So you can see how teachers and students alike would really love to be able to have access to this game. And it looks like we got a pretty good team scores on there. All right, one more activity, and then I promise we're going to get in the Q&A. This one is called Shout It Out. This is another activity that you'll have access to after you provision your users. I'm going to start it for you guys. And curious, on your screen, you'll see a little box and it says, what is your top takeaway from today's webinar? And you can type it in the box and go ahead and submit it, and it's going to start popping up on both of my screens. Oh, it's not going to show up on this one. Love this one. How easy is that to add users? Any device, being able to do it from home. I love this one. Confirms we're doing everything right. Yay! Oh, benefits. Super easy, the home access. That you can have more than one admin. It doesn't just have to be one person. Yep, you can do a lot more. This is awesome. All right. Thank you guys for contributing in that. I'll leave it up for another few seconds. But definitely easy to add users, how easy it was to provision, 4 simple steps, how to get access to be able to provision your users, that your teachers can have access to Smart Learning Suite, whether they're at home or they're at school, and how Lumio helps to bridge that divide on any device, anywhere, anytime. So, perfect. All right, I'm going to go on to our next piece of information. These are all the resources that you're going to have access to, and we will send these in the follow-up email as well. So tons of resources to help you provision after today. So if you got dabbled in the portal but didn't actually get your users provisioned in the time that we're providing because you need to do a syncing process, you'll have all of these resources. You can click on them here to open them up. We'll send them in the email afterwards as well. So you've got videos, you have a self-paced tutorial training you could use. You have information to contact for support if you have any questions. If you have a request a feature, so something that you would like, maybe like expiring product keys to be removed, you can put that in request a feature. And then you have all the directions for being able to sync your users.
Well, folks, I think we really need to give a big thanks to Laura today for just an awesome presentation on the Smart Admin Portal. Certainly appreciate you taking the time to share that with us today, Laura. And everyone, please remember to fill out that survey again. If you didn't get a chance, I'm just going to pop that back into the chat one more time. We absolutely appreciate your feedback in making these webinars the best that they can be.